All right, we have a sprint takeover right now by James, and I have 3d6 for this, and we're going to go through um, this article and play it. All right, so let me see. I have my. Let's see, there's one. I broke out my fancier dice for this, so. Oops, darn it. Okay. Okay, this is the article on the screen. Okay, so I have history. All right, let's see. It's a tabletop game. Okay. The tabletop game was originally played during the 2020's pandemic. As some people were unemployed, they became inventive with their time and ways to distract themselves. No, I am not now, unless Greg finds issue. To entertain them further. It was originally played between friends when lockdown eased, and later a fun game with children or casual game on lunch breaks with colleagues. All right. The game now comes in a bag containing a card measuring that. A card on one side tells the purchaser what the game is called with a short description. On the other side, what to play. The game as well as the rule. The bag has the side showing the rules covered to make the purchase more likely. Game pieces are not included as it assumes the person or the person's parents or caregivers have the pieces already. Okay, let's start up the timer. We got a little jump start there. If they don't have pieces, the store selling the game will sell it themselves. The pieces are relatively cheap. Okay, I don't have any pieces. The game is often played at home, however, is played in the workplace when colleagues are at lunch. The game is played more on the great day of celebration, but it's played other times as well. Okay. The game is played over 5 rounds in which each player rolls their 3d6. After rolling their dice, they will note down their score. If they won the round, and if they get any sixes for each of the 5 rounds. Okay. Paper. I need paper. Benefit of a messy desk. Okay. Divide your notebook page into 3 columns. Sorry, I only have something small like this. Okay, 3 columns. All right. Roll 3d6. Okay, where do I roll this? I don't really have a good dice tray. Okay, I'll just try rolling it carefully over here. Okay, I got a 5, a 2, and a 6. Total your score on each of the dice. For your total, you get put this in the left column. So I have 13. Okay. If you got any 6s, put the number 6s in the right column. I got 1 6. At the end, compare the scores in the round. On the round, no one gets a 6. The highest score wins. Okay. So everyone was supposed to do that. Okay. It's a 2-player game. Okay. On the round where a player has the lowest score but the most 6s, they win. On a round where the number of 6 matches, the person with the highest score wins. On a round where the lowest person doesn't roll a 6, but the player that rolled higher did get a 6, the highest roll wins. Okay. On a round where the lowest person doesn't roll a 6, but the player that rolled higher did get a 6, the highest roll wins. In the middle column, for rounds you win, mark with a 1, and those you didn't win, mark with a 0. At the end of the game, rounds you win, add together the at the end of the game, the rounds you win, you add together. The player with the highest end score wins. Okay. This article is cursed. It's not bad. We're still going along. Okay, typical game. Okay. They got a 5, but they got 2 6s. Oh, no. Oh, wait. This is what they got on the dice. Okay. You may want to describe that, saying that this first table describes the results of the dice. And then here, okay, 11, 6s, okay, 1, 1. Okay. Yeah, you may want to describe, say, this first table is an example of the different dice roll, whereas this second one is the actual results. Okay, I'm confused about this third one. The round where the lowest person doesn't roll a 6. The highest roll wins. Okay, around where the player has the lowest score, okay. So the most 6s win. See, this third rule sounds redundant in a situation that will never happen. Because on a round where the lowest person doesn't roll a 6, meaning they have 0 6s, but the player that rolled higher did get a 6, the highest roll wins. Well, that's covered in on the round. But here, the lowest score, but the most 6s, they win. A round where the number of 6 match. Okay. I would probably. Hmm. In round 1, player 1 gets the highest score, and no one got any 6s. Okay. Therefore, they won the round. On round 2, this case again, even though they rolled a 6, however, in round 3, both players drew as they rolled the same score. But they both, okay, so, but then you need to, they both won, as opposed to neither one won. Okay. Okay, as player, the interesting part comes in round 4. As player 2, even though they rolled a lower score, they rolled a 6, meaning they won the round, stealing the win from player 1. Okay, I can see that. On the last and 5th round, player 1 has won as they have rolled a higher and they have a 6 as well to protect them from having the score stolen from player 2. At the end, the score taking the player who has won the round total up the points. Player 1 has won as they have the highest number of points. Okay, so you own. All right. Is this a gambling game? While not considered a gambling game, some people have tried to make the game interesting by making it so, since it's a game of luck, not strategy. It is usually betting that they will get a higher end score rolling more 6s. This is, of course, an adult variant of playing the game. Okay. Some people ask me what happens if the lowest doesn't get a 6 but the highest did. Fair enough. Okay, I think that you need to have a new first rule. And I would probably, under the rule of sixes, I would number them instead of having bullet points so that people can refer to, I win this because of rule number 1, or I won this because of rule number 3. And it would be easier to refer to which of the rules if they were numbered. I think that there needs to be a new rule, number 1, saying, rule number 1, the person with the most sixes wins. And because right here, you're saying the lowest score, but the most sixes, they win. So don't even worry about who has lowest score, who has highest score. If you have the most sixes, you win. Okay? Then, on a round where the number of 6 matches, great. The person with the highest score wins. Okay, good. That's a good solid rule. On a round where the lowest person doesn't roll a 6, but the person rolled higher did get the 6, the highest roll wins. On a round where the lowest person doesn't roll a 6, but the player that rolled higher did get a 6, the highest roll wins. I think that if you added a fourth rule but made it the first one and just said the most sixes wins and just left it at that, I think it would help provide clarity because it states it as an absolute. And then the following rules are the exceptions. Okay, the most common situation, all sixes win. Okay, you should have 4 rules. A case where there's one person has the most sixes, one case where the people have the same sixes, one case where the people have a different number of sixes, and fourth, what if there are no sixes? Okay, those are the 4 conditions that you can have in this situation, and you should, I believe you should label it as such. Rule number 1, the person with the most sixes win. Rule number 2, if you have the same number of sixes, the highest total score of the dice wins. If you have one person have sixes and the other person doesn't, then they also win as a subset of rule number 1. And at the end, compares on the rounds no one gets the sixes, the highest score wins. At the end, okay, let me finish my thought. The fourth one is if no one gets it, the highest total score. I'm saying I had put it in. Where? Oh. Okay, but you on the round, no one gets a 6, the highest score wins. Well, you need to think about separating the rules between you have the setup explaining how you fill in card 1, and then you have the rule of sixes. This part that I have highlighted here, on a round no one gets a 6, the highest score wins, that is actually a rule. That doesn't have anything to do with setting up your card. So if you got any sixes, okay, so I would actually take this last bullet point and move it under the rules and how it's played. Finish side 1 of the next series. Oh, good job, mistress. I see. So yeah, I hope that helps. James, do you have any more questions? So on the round, no one gets a 6. The highest score wins. Would be zero point 0.4 under the rule of sixes. Well, I don't want to. Would you like me to write the rules if I was writing it? I don't want to take your game over. But would you like? I think it would be easier for me to explain how I would write the rules if I actually wrote them down, and then you can take it or leave it. Would that be something that you would like? Okay. Then what I'm going to do is then we're going to end the sprint takeover here. I'll stop the recording for the highlight. During the next sprint, I will write the rules and then I will give them to you via Discord so that then you can compare and use it yourself. But the only edit that I have right now is to get rid of this last bullet point, and then I will provide um, what if I were to write it, I would provide that. Okay. So thanks for the sprint takeover, and I'm just going to mark add the streamer.